Syrian Canadians are closely watching the developments in Syria. Joining us for his perspective is Danny Ramadan. He's a Syrian Canadian and the author of Crooked Teeth, a queer Syrian refugee memoir. He's also a public speaker and advocate for LGBTQ+ refugees. Danny, thanks very much for being on the program with us. And I can imagine waking up to this news today. You have probably a pretty visceral reaction to this, given everything that you've been through. Can you tell us just how you're feeling right now?
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. Waking up this morning was a very interesting experience because I got a million messages overnight. It was a shock to the core of the system, to be honest, because this is something that Syrians have been demanding for the last 13, 14 years out loud and have been dreaming of for the last 5 decades. So it feels joyful, it feels celebratory, but at the same time, it feels like there is a fearful anticipation because we don't know what will come after. We don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit more about that, if you would, and some of the fears and the hopes that you have now for the future of Syria.
In 2011, when the revolution started in Syria, it started by the liberals, it started by the intellectuals, it started by people who are demanding democratic move within Syria. And of course, over the last 13, 14 years, while Assad was living on borrowed time, he created a space where all of those liberals had to leave out. And that scares us, right? Because currently the folks that are coming in might have their own agendas. There are different factors coming in at the same time with different agendas that might be conflicting. All of that is terrifying. At the same time, there had been a lot of hope for this day to come. There had been we have been waiting for the last what feels like a million years for the day we can say that Syria is finally free of al-Assad.
Can you take me through, your decision to leave the country, what it was that made you have to leave and come here, and sort of how you're feeling about, possibly even maybe being able to go back even as a visitor someday?
In Syria, I was running an underground LGBTQ center, which got me arrested in 2012. And after my arrest, I had to flee the country, and I lived as a refugee for 2 years in Lebanon. And then Canada welcomed me as a Canadian, and now I'm a Canadian. I've been living here for over 10 years. It's a fearful moment right now for me because I would love to go back to Syria. I would love to, as a queer man, I would love to take my husband and go back to Syria and show him where I came from, introduce him to my actual culture. But when the head of state is removed, that doesn't mean that its minions are not there yet. I don't know about the archives. Do they keep track of people like me? Will I be safe if I ever go visit back home? It feels quite heartbreaking, to be honest, because this is the beautiful celebratory moment, but it doesn't mean that all of those Syrians are now having free access to go back to their place of birth, to their culture, to their heritage.
You mentioned that you had been receiving lots of messages from members of the community, from family, from friends. I know you may have lost touch with those on the ground in Syria, but can you take us through just finally some of the reaction that you're hearing from people today?
Friends in Germany are out in the streets waving the freedom flag of Syria. There are people across Europe who are sending celebratory messages, posting on social media with the green flags of a free Syria. There are folks who are wanting to celebrate the day. That we as Syrians, we would like to celebrate today because at the end of the day, this is a day for us as Syrians. This is a day for us to actually represent our hope that has been going on for the last 14 years. And I know the future can be difficult, and I don't want to be the harbinger of sadness. Um, so instead, we're just going to focus on the beauty of the end of this dictatorship, and hopefully, the future will be better.